How did you get out of your death row contract?
So I just let it lapse after I left. And he went to, he went where he went. And the company got, my attorney at the time was Robert Lieberman, same attorney as Snoop's. So we never got a release though.
Never got a release out of that.
That shit went down.
How much music did you record over there?
About three or four projects.
3 or 4 projects.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was there any pushback when you came back on the East Coast and you did the record with Red?
Yeah. Because I kept my shit fairly what it was. And funny being that when we was at Death Row, we brought that black exploitation there. That whole movement was we just knew that shit. We grew up in that era. I met so I'm over there at Death Row and I meet Norman Whitfield one day. I'm at the Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles where PM Dawn got killed, PM Rock got shot. So I'm in there.
Rock, rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, PM Rock. And we and one day the guy shows up and he's at my table and he shakes my hand and I didn't know who he was. Damn. And then Norman, guy named Melvin Kelly, R. Kelly's cousin, was like, that's Norman Whitfield. But I didn't know who he was. Okay. Come to find out, he's the guy that wrote all those songs for the Motown. So as Dr. Dre was doing The Wash, that was about him. He did The Wash. He's the creator of it. So buys my food, and says, how many hit songs do you have? And I remember I think I had 7 and I poked my chest out. Because I thought, I need 7. And he said, I had 700. And I was like, oh, shit.
He's lining you up.
He lined me up, you know what I'm saying? And, but it was a good lineup, too, because when I talked to my mother, she knew who he was. And then he was telling me, yeah, heard it through the grapevine, and Papa was a Rolling Stone. These are all his songs he wrote.
Wow.
Now, he's from Harlem. We in Harlem. Shout out to Norman Whitfield, because he's gone.
Yeah.
But what a great person. He was just telling me about how the era was and how they built. His career started when he was going to a funeral in Detroit and the car broke down and he stayed in Detroit. And then he met Norman Whitfield. He met Barry Gordy. And then Norman Whitfield got to write songs for his artists. And that whole thing, he had a whole era, dedicated to him in Motown.
Wow. 700.
Number ones.
700 number ones.
Yeah. So yeah, I was, and he mentored me too.
In what way?
He gave me this board, the MCI 500. I took it, the old board that their songs were created on.
Right.
Still, you don't have the preamps that you can't make that sound analytical. It was just real warm.
Right.
And I got that, and he would just tell me pointers, hours of conversations, like on, another one that was just feeding my ideology that, and he kept telling his kids something about this guy. He's gonna use this, like they couldn't believe it. But
what was one of the, I guess, best jewels that he gave you?
He said it's not as we think it's gonna be. It's gonna be how it's supposed to be, and that meant like the times that's happening now, like me thinking, like for instance, me thinking that whatever I'm thinking negative on something, that it's not gonna be like that. The outcome of it, it doesn't have to be. And if you think in a positive light and use the pieces before you, it's always going to be a different scenario. And he's right about that, because I didn't think you could use all of those counterparts and the pieces in the game. And sure enough, by Norman saying what he said, I started doing that, Started running with guys that work for Parliament. Musically, I can hear the different things bouncing off walls. Like he told me another thing too, how sometimes you can hear music in a totally different light when you're in another room and you're playing and it's bouncing off a couple of walls. To hear that there, to record that, that's where the hits are. And I would do that with a tape recorder, hear different things and hum different sounds and then make them later. And it's true, like you can create it just with little, you'd be surprised how you can make a hit record. And he was really diverse in that.
Can you give me an example of the application of that?
Okay, so if I'm beating on the table, like me and Jay-Z make records,
Right.
we're beating on the table, we'll find the record.
You said you and Jay-Z.
Yeah, Jay-Z beats on the record.
Right.
He'll beat on the table to make a record.
Right.
And I can do that too. I don't miss a beat. While I'm talking, I can be beaten and structure the record and then go in the studio. You know exactly where you're going with it because it starts with the drum track.
Right.
And that builds everything else up. Some people don't do it that way, but the old guys do it that way. And I adopted that way too. Works better for me that way because when I was a kid, I didn't have the equipment to sample. So I had to do everything, manually.
Now, I heard stories of like Tupac just rapping songs to drum patterns and then the producers creating the record later.
I saw Tupac when he came out of jail. Now, this is what I'm going to say. Now, I ain't taking no credit from Pac because I love Pac. He was a very good artist and he was dope. But Pac was in jail for 2 years before he got to death row.
Right.
So when he's writing songs as he's writing them and he's saying, oh, he's just writing them and spitting them, I'm going to say I don't think that was the case. I think he was in a room with guys he wasn't comfortable with and he's making it look like he's creating magic. Because you got to memorize these songs to come out and spit them. You're in jail for 2 years. You're not just coming out penning shit. Right. You're using your head, right? You got to pen. You're penning shit. Everybody's like, and this is what they're saying when they leave the studio. He just wrote that and spit it. And they're leaving and I'm like, I'm not going to say nothing.
So hold on.
Right. You see
Wait
what
a
I'm
minute.
saying?
You saying Tupac was hitting him with the okie doke like,
no,
I wrote this in jail.
No, I didn't know.
But I'm gonna act like I'm rewriting it.
But do you see what I'm saying? But he's writing the rhyme, right? In jail.
Right.
I mean, in the studio.
Right.
And he's spitting it, but you was in jail for 2 years. So so I'm not saying you give me okey dick, but am I to think that you wrote this right now? Or where's the stuff that you wrote for 2 years that's just in your head? I'm just asking.
Right.
So I'm saying to myself, is he doing this or is this pre-wrote and he's writing it now and spitting it? I'm not saying he can't do it, but I know you've been in jail for 2 years.
Were you watching him?
Yes.
Were you in there like?
No, I'm there in the room, but I'm saying
like that was already on the paper. He ain't writing nothing.
I wouldn't say that. I know he was talented.
Right.
But I'm just saying you were in there for 2 years.
Right.
So
where's the stuff you wrote?
Exactly.
Right.
Because you're writing this like you're writing it right now.
Right.
And how do I know that that's the case when you were in jail for 2 years? That's all.
Right.
But talented guy. A lot of pain on the record. Dear Mama was one of my favorite records. When I heard that, I got goosebumps. Same when I heard Gin and Juice for the first time. I just knew Dre knew what he was doing. Right. I was like, oh shit, because you went and witness it, right? That's what you come out there for.
Right.
I'm gonna see this shit happen. And, or first time I'm in the studio with Dre and I heard, I get lifted, the sample, boom, 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 and when I heard the keys, and this is before Snoop came in the studio to lay the vocals. When I heard those keys that Manuel Dean laid on that shit, the hair stood up. I couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa, this line is the truth. And the way he puts the record together, it's sonically correct. Everything's in the middle, Now, Sam would make the outer track, like I was telling you, the bass track, and then Dre would throw things on top of it and take it to the next level. He's done that with Keep Your Heads Ringing and Natural Born Killers.
Right.
So Sam sneezes the bottom, and then Dr. Dre does the other stuff.
Right.
But, amazing architect to watch. Norman Whitfield did too. I seen Norman Whitfield mix some songs too when I was there, but I couldn't get them two together. And Dr. Dre was paying homage to him with The Wash. Our culture's weird, right? I was trying to be like, but I know Norman, I can bring him,
Yeah.
And Dr. Dre paid homage to him through The Wash. Right. Dope.
But you weren't able to make that connection.
Nah, because I had left him. I was leaving at the time. It was towards the end of my stay at death row.
How long was it before your contract was up?
I had a 4-year contract. But it's like when Tupac finished his shit real quick and he was done and he was ready to leave, I would have had issues too, not realizing it because he sold 75 million records. He had no money.